and the pulmonary trunk as well as my coronary arteries. That means if everything has to speed up, having this innervation will allow the flow of the blood to meet the demand of the heartbeat. Because when the heartbeat increases, the blood flow needs to meet that demand. When the heartbeat increases, the blood flow needs to meet that demand. Now, this wasn't a control. This was an effect on the SA node, on these areas of the heart. Well, when that happens, this means breathing rate increases, blood pressure increases, lots of other things begin to happen in your body. Under normal conditions, the parasympathetic wants to reverse what just happened. So my parasympathetic, by way of the vagus nerve, based upon nuclei, meaning nerve cell bodies, in that medulla oblongata, where I will find my cardiac center. My cardiac center, monitoring all of the activities of the heart, is found in the primitive region of my brain. So, the parasympathetic, by way of its fibers, through that vagus nerve to the cardiac plexus, they're going to kind of mingle a little bit with the sympathetic and continue to the heart by way of the cardiac nerves. However, this system, parasympathetic, synapses on the surface of the heart wall with the epicardium. Sympathetic made its way anterior. Parasympathetic synapses on the exterior of the heart. The impulse terminates at the SA and the AV nodes. It also will terminate on the sympathetic fibers found in the area of those nodes. Because the goal, stop the sympathetic from releasing their products. So, the goal, reduce the heart rate that the sympathetic started, and once again, control the rate of the heart. It is up to the parasympathetic for my heart rate. It is up to my sympathetic for contraction strength, the force of the flow of the blood.
Can you repeat that?
Which part?
Which one does the
parasympathetic is for my heart rate. My sympathetic is for contraction strength. That push of the flow of the blood. Under normal conditions, hopefully, who's there? Oh, okay. Sorry. So, This, under normal conditions, kind of just letting the heart do its thing. When the sympathetic gets activated, we got to have other processes come along to control this function of the heart. Because the heart is based on the movement of ions. Now, calcium, sodium, potassium, just to name a few. That means it's electrical, because that's what the electrolytes do. They create an electrical event. In our heart, hopefully, what's going to happen, we end up getting a cardiac cycle. That means we get one contraction, one relaxation. And they are termed my systole for the contraction and my diastole for the relaxation. How have you heard of those terms?
Systolic and diastolic pressure.
Blood pressure. That is what blood pressure is based upon. Do you happen to know, if you see a number, i.e. 120/80, which one belongs to which?
120 is going out and 80 is coming back in.
Speak to me in terms of contraction and relaxation.
120 is contraction and 80 is relaxation.
Everybody follow me. Why is that clinically significant? Hold on, let someone else answer. Okay, let's have some other interaction. Why is this clinically significant?
You don't want it to relax too much because then that creates more problems. So the person
Okay.
will go off
So we don't want the relaxation to go too low.
we're not supposed to go so high for the systolic.
Okay, we don't want the systolic to go too high. What does that mean in terms of the tissues of our body?
If they're getting the proper blood supply.
All right, so if my blood pressure goes too high, I'm looking at a situation where that movement through the vessels is very strong because it's under a lot of pressure. And that means it would be under pressure, even though when we think about those capillary beds, okay? But that's where we can have some major issues. If the pressure gets really high at those capillary beds, they can burst. And that's not good. If the blood pressure is too low, I'm not getting enough blood flow, and the tissues can die. Other things that these numbers are going to tell you, it's going to tell you.
I had a quick question. Like the aortic aneurysm, is that from like the pressure just like being too much and it's just eventually burst?
Now, when you have the case of an aneurysm like that in the aorta, now they'll usually define where it is because it could be in the arch. A lot of times they're in the descending, where you might find them in like the abdominal region. But when we talk about an aneurysm, okay, that means somewhere the blood vessel is weakened. So now if they're saying aortic, that means somewhere within that aorta, whether we've got the ascending, the arch, or the descending, somewhere in that structure of just the aorta, it's weakened. So what should normally be a thick vessel, somewhere along the wall, it's almost like it creates an indentation, and it's really thin. And because blood doesn't continue moving, every time the heart beats, it can cause that blood to keep pushing, which would eventually cause it to burst.
The way it was explained to me is that sometimes you pick up a basketball and it's not perfectly round. Sometimes it has like a little bump on it, and that's where that ball of that basketball has been weakened, so the pressure has
It's
pushed
kind of
it out.
making it push out because you've got a weakness in the wall. And because blood pools there when the heart beats, if it's under pressure, it's putting even more pressure on what's built up right there, and it can go kapowie. In the brain, for the aneurysms in the brain, when you look at the blood supply to the brain, which is very interesting, but the blood vessels that are there, they can have weak spots there also. You can have weak spots in these vessels, and that's what they call an aneurysm. So the other part that the numbers can tell you, the numbers can tell you information about the heart itself. Okay, could it be enlarged? Could it not be emptying correctly? There's a lot of information they can get. They begin doing tests, like an echo, the sonogram, okay? They have all this stuff they can do now to check it. In the rhythm that we get, okay, the SA node gives us our rhythm, that heartbeat per minute. So, sinus rhythm. Yes, the SA node, we do have a norm, but like I said, that can vary person to person. If any other area of the heart has to be responsible for maintaining the heart rate other than the SA node, it's termed an ectopic focus. It's rather common. It's a rather common event that can occur, and you will hear them say they have an ectopic focus. That means usually the AV node is setting the pace. But now here comes the problem. If it becomes dependent on the heart to set the heart rate, we're down to 40 to 50 beats per minute. What have I now done to the blood flow in my body?
Reduced the circulation.
I have now decreased blood flow to the tissues of my body. And I have now affected movement of materials into those cells that are making up those tissues. The body can sustain this for a short amount of time. The effects are pretty quick. People usually determine what could be going wrong and have to make decisions about their treatment.
Now,
Hold on, Anthony.
these beats per minute, the 40 to 50. I've heard of athletes having as low as like 45.
Like I said, it's dependent upon one of the things that affects it, physical conditioning. The better physically conditioned